Hi everyone, and welcome to Watercolors with Jaylene. So for today's tutorial, I want to show you how to create some very loose flowers. And the purpose of this video is more for someone that's having a little bit of a kind of like a writer's block, but an artist block, and you just can't quite get into the groove. This is a little practice that will help loosen you up and get your creative mind going again. And before we get started, I would like to ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my videos. That does help me with my channel. So this is a little sample of what we'll be doing, and I'll set that to the side. And this is a little bit larger piece of watercolor paper. And so for my materials list for today, it's pretty basic. We just have a piece of watercolor paper, any size, and I do have my jar of clean water. This is a number 6 round brush. I have my Winsor & Newton 24 cake watercolor set, and then I will also be using a Micron 05 nib for the just to kind of, you know, sketch in some of the flower petals and leaves and such. So, like I said, this is so easy and fun. It's a lot of fun. So we'll start out, and I'm going to be using basically just 3 different colors for the flowers. I'm going to be using purple, and let's see, I think I'll use a cadmium orange, and then also permanent rose. 3 different colors. And then for the greenery, I'll be using hooker's green. So I'll start with the purple. It's called Purple Lake, and I get just a little bit of color on my brush along with a lot of water, and just kind of start moving it around. Oh, and another thing that I have is my paper towel for blotting. So we just kind of move it around in different areas, and different amounts of paint. And I'm just kind of making real loose, I don't want to say circles, but blobs, I guess, and kind of put those in different areas. So those are the purple. And then I'm going to clean my brush a bit, and I'll grab some of the cadmium orange. All right, let me get some of this on my brush. And I'll tell you what happened. I went out and bought this new brush. It's an 06. I had never had an 06, and for whatever reason, I don't know. And so I went out and got it, and I brought it home, and I wanted to just kind of see how well it worked. And that's how I came about painting these. Okay, so we kind of have those, and we want to make sure that they're, you know, we want to make sure that they're kind of like not solid edges. You know, make sure you have a lot of water on your brush. Okay, so now I'm going to grab some of the permanent rose. We can do a few of these as well. And then we are gonna, and this is a little bit more paint there, and that's good. All right, so I think I'll put just a little bit more right in this area. And then I'm going to grab some of the hooker's green, and we're going to wash this around. And this, while I'm washing it, I'm kind of keeping in mind, you know, that it is greenery. So while I'm not being specific about it really looking like greenery, what will define it is the permanent marker. You know, once I go in and start scribbling around creating my flowers. And that's really what it is scribbling around. All Where's my green here? And of course, any cluster of flowers, it's always good to have a lot of greenery. So some of these I want to go back in and just kind of dab a little bit more so that the pieces of, or the areas of green are different shades of green, you know, the light and dark of it. All right, so we have that. And now that the other colors, they aren't solidly dry. They're still kind of wet, but I do want to go in with quite a heavy amount of paint on my brush and just kind of dab around in the middle, or what we can create as the middle part of the flower. And we can let this, you know, kind of blend because the paint is still somewhat wet, but that'll add a little texture once we start coloring in the flowers. And then I'll grab some of this permanent rose and do the same with that. You can see just how quick and easy, and it's actually fun just slopping paint around on a piece of paper. And so then I want to grab some of my orange and start slopping that around also. Now these kind of have dried to the point where it's not really blending well, so I'm just going to add a little more paint to my brush. Now I'm going to add a little more water to my brush is what I'm going to do. All right, so that's good. So we do have quite a bit on there, and I think I might add just a little bit more in some of these areas that are looking a little empty, like right there and right out here. I'll kind of add a little bit. And I think I want just a little more green up in this area, and maybe right over in this area. We want it to be nice and full with color everywhere, and then that way, you know, once we start putting the defining lines in there, it does fill up nice. And so this is looking pretty good. So I think what we'll do is just let this dry for a minute, and then once it's nice and dry, we can start adding the black lines and creating the flowers and the leaves, and, you know, bringing the whole picture to life. So we'll give this just a minute. Okay, so now that this is nice and dry, I'll move the water out of the way. And this is where we start having a lot of fun. We just kind of scribble in some loose flowers, the leaves, and the petals, and then the centers of them. So let me move this off to the side. And we can start with this area. And really you just kind of want to, you know, scribble in a rough shape of petals on flowers. And then a loose middle, you know, and we're not doing anything, nothing specific. Then here we can do just kind of a leaf, couple of leaves. Whoops, kind of stuck to it. So here is another flower that we can draw in, and you don't have to really follow, you know, the paint exactly. You can just kind of create your own look. And if you want some thinner leaves to go out, but yeah, to do loose flowers, loose painting, you know, and just kind of get things going. You can do as much as you want. Maybe put a few little stamens in the middle there. What kind of flowers are these, you ask? We have no idea. No idea at all. They're fun flowers, that's what we can say. But, you know, this is nice just to kind of have fun and play with the colors. And if you get a new paintbrush like I did, or even if you have different watercolor paper that you want to try out, this is always a good way to, you know, see how the different paints will blend and, you know, kind of flow together. And also it's a good practice for trying to come up with different ideas for flower designs. And I'm trying to keep my hand out of the way so you can see how I scribble everything in here nice and disorderly. Right? But I know loose flowers are a very popular search on YouTube, you know, to get different ideas. And there's so many creative ideas out there. So, you know, you kind of watch a few, come up with your own ideas, your own comfort level with what you're creating. And go from there. See, look at how cool that's turning out. Here we can put another leaf right in there. Let's put a couple leaves here. We'll go like this. And then just kind of loosely draw up around this. You may come up with a different color scheme, you know, use blues and purples and yellows. Yellows or oranges are always really nice because they'll brighten up any painting that you're working on, regardless of what it is. And in the world of flowers, you know, there's a lot of yellow out there. Okay, so you could even do this after a cup of coffee when you have the shakes. Okay, look at how fun this is. Isn't this fun? Hope you're having fun watching it. I'm having fun painting it, drawing it. Just kind of coming up with my own little designs on all of these. And some of them, you know, just kind of dot things in, which we will be adding dots. I think dots always add to these fun, loose projects. They add a bit of whimsy. If you wanted to add some squiggly vines, that'd be fun. I didn't add any to this, but it would be fun. I kind of filled it in too much. So now I have all of the flowers and leaves drawn in. So now I just want to go through and add dots. You know, like I mentioned, I think dots do a lot for these whimsical loose flower designs. You can put them wherever. You could even splatter them in with your paint if you wanted to. You know, splatter the different colors throughout. I kind of like the idea of the black dots. I think it's a bold accent, and I have a tendency to use dots and lines and on a lot of my artwork, because it is a bold, whimsical look for sure. You can see I'm just kind of putting dots in wherever there's little spaces. I don't know if there is such a thing as too many. I don't think so. So for any of you that are watching this and you think, oh my gosh, I can't do that, you can. It's very easy, and you can see how quick it is, and it's fast, and no two will ever look the same. That's the really cool part about it. They're all different. They always will be. And that's what we love about it. So I would say pretty much I am completed with this little loose watercolor, flowers in watercolor. And so give it a try. It's a lot of fun. And as I had mentioned earlier, if you could like and subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate it. In the description below, I will have a list of all of the materials that I used today. It's a pretty basic list. And also, I do have a Patreon page. There's a lot of traceables on there. There's coloring pages. There's instruction sheets. And every month I'm adding new items to it. So for a couple of bucks a month, you can get some really cool stuff off of there as well. And so for today, that is about it. And until next time, ciao for now.